You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chillson, and this is my review for Don't Worry, Darling. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Don't Worry, Darling is a 2022 mystery thriller directed by Olivia Wilde, starring Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, and Gemma Chan. The film follows Alice and Jack in their idealistic 1950s lifestyle. As Alice goes through her life of luxury in the small town of Victory, cracks in the crystal begin to unveil something sinister lying just beneath the surface of this so-called perfect life. Now, I was on board for Don't Worry, Darling from the first time I saw the trailer. I loved Booksmart, so Olivia Wilde getting to follow that up was exciting in and of itself. Then you add this all-star cast. We see Harry Styles in a leading role this time around, and trailers just looked freaking good. Then the PR tour started taking us down a whole different kind of path that also kept me intrigued. Hey! Yes, the drama, the Shia LaBeouf, Olivia Wilde, Miss Flo, all of it had me chomping at the bit. Then we cap it all off with Spitgate 2022 between Harry Styles and Chris Pine. Oh, tea was piping hot, and my interest was boiling right there with it. Ultimately, I think Don't Worry, Darling is a solid film. I'd say the reviews are very hyperbolic. Not as great as I was originally hoping for. I don't think it's nearly as bad as the internet would have you believe. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. The top tier positive for me was Miss Flo herself, Florence Pugh, in the leading role. She is amazing, really a tour de force. Does anyone play gaslighted girlfriend as good as Florence Pugh? No, that's her gig, and she nails it yet again. I also think our supporting cast is all very good as well, including director herself, Miss Olivia Wilde, in a smaller role. It was one that had a lot of depth to it just through her portrayal. And then Chris Pine, always fantastic. He's deliciously sinister in this film. Gemma Chan has a very small role here, but she just exudes this charm and regality through her performance. And I have to say it, against what you've heard, against that clip that has been going round and round on Twitter, Harry Styles is solid in this film. Now, of course, he's not matching Miss Flo. Let's just be very clear. She eats him up in every scene. But he's good. He delivers exactly what this role calls for and exactly what he was asked to do. The demise of Harry Styles' acting career was far premature, I'd say. I also thought the direction was really good. I know Olivia Wilde is in some boiling hot water these days after all that controversy, but it is a really interesting film to watch. Her shot selections and her composition of the story is really interesting. The visual symbolism and clues that are left were really strong. Once again, Olivia Wilde shows that she does have a talent behind the camera. And Don't Worry, Darling is artistically quite a beautiful film. Of course, the costumes are lovely. The set design is really interesting. The music serves the story very well, and it all builds up on this really tense mystery as we move throughout. And I was entertained. I thought it was an interesting film. Not quite start to finish. We'll talk about that momentarily in the negatives, but I was interested in the story. I was intrigued. I knew more or less where we were going to end up, but there were still nuggets that kept me interested in this iteration of the story we were telling. So then, what doesn't work so well when it comes to Don't Worry, Darling? Well, my biggest complaint actually is the full structure. I think the first act is great, and then the third act is solid. The second act, however, really kind of drags. It feels too repetitious. The reveals or the clues that are being laid out before the audience and before our main character start to feel like been there, done that, let's move along. And I think it easily could have been solved by cutting down that second act, the major gaslighting portion of the film, if you will, and expanding the third act after we get the reveal, exploring what that really means, how all of this has really taken place, because it's really an afterthought. We get no real answers, explanations, or honestly, deeper thoughts that really contributes to the overall themes of the film. The idea of misogynistic entitlement that is forefront in the film overall, it gets a little bit undermined by the lack of follow through, commitment, and finish in that third act. It's also a story we have seen before. Now, I won't go too far into this. I will say it is a different take on the films I'm about to mention. But if you don't even want to hear a comparison to other films that it's similar to, click off now. Still here? Well, I would describe this film as The Stepford Wives meets Antebellum. It also meets another film, I think, but that gives away too much of a twist. In a lot of ways, it really does feel like sort of an updated version to something like The Stepford Wives. And I think the trailers do a pretty good job of telling you that's what you're walking into, and it delivers on that front. So take from that what you will. It's hard to discuss much more when it comes to Don't Worry, Darling without spoiling the film itself and really diving into that third act and what went well and what didn't work so well. So, overall, I would say Don't Worry, Darling was a perfectly fun way to pass a Thursday night at the movie theater. Some great performances, some fun atmosphere, a bopping soundtrack. It delivered pretty much exactly what I anticipated it to deliver, both for the better and for the worse. So if those trailers intrigued you, I think you should give Don't Worry, Darling a full price ticket. It's a pretty fun watch. So that was my review for Don't Worry, Darling. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. What did you think of Don't Worry, Darling? Let me know either in the comment section down below or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.